Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is July 31st, the final day of July. We'll be into August as of midnight on the East Coast here. It's 7:56 p.m. and we are taking a look at a video we put out yesterday. And I just wanted to prove a little point to you guys about how fast and how quickly situations change. Now, I remember talking to you guys about this invest up here, or this possible invest up here. It is really not looking like it's going to form into anything. It's still under 10%. Over the next 2 days, it's at 0%. But this thing right here, this is a whole different story. Not only that, but within the next 8 or 9 days, this thing ends up settling right to the east side of Florida as a strong Category 3, with winds upwards of 122 miles an hour. I'm going to show you that on Vent2 Sky and on Tropical Tidbits. We do have time for that to change, but considering the atmospheric conditions in the middle of the ocean and the high pressures in the Gulf and the Southern Caribbean, there's only really one place for this thing to go unless we have some drastic changes, and that thing's going to come right up here, and it looks like the peak is going to be right here. Now, whether that's going to roll up, we don't know yet. That's too far out. But what I want to focus on is I want you to hear this little bit of the audio from last night's video, and then we're going to continue from there. So I'm going to hit play here, and we're going to go till about 13:51, I believe. So here we go. And now, with a 40% chance over the next 5 days, this thing might go up by the end of this video to 50 or 60%. And then after that is red. When you see red, you can almost guarantee a tropical depression now with a name. So I'm assuming this will be Chantal. Of course, you cannot predict all weather, so this may be Chantal, and this could be Dorian, or vice versa. You just never know. It's whichever one forms first, if both form, but I do believe this one will form right first. So very significant. With that said, 40%. With that said, I just wanted to show you guys that we did point this out yesterday. It was at 40%. I want to show you now what it's at. It's a little bit different. We are now at a 70% chance over the next 5 days. More than likely, guys, this thing is going to form. This thing has changed its shape a little bit, but still nothing has changed as far as the atmospheric conditions allowing this thing to form. In my opinion, what this is going to do, it's going to draw rain. It's going to combine a couple storms. We're going to have some situations maybe along the Keys and the Bahamas, obviously. More towards the east side of Florida, we'll get some a rough surf and stuff like that. We'll let our friend Craig Setzer, the meteorologist for Florida, more so Miami-Dade area, but I talk with him not recently, but often on social media. So him and I go back and forth about Florida weather. So I'll keep you updated on that. But as far as Florida goes right now, guys, this system right here, I would not worry about in the next 5 days. It's this one you want to worry about in the next 5 to 7 days. And I'm going to show you that on Vent2 Sky right now, because we're looking at some of these wind speeds are just, we do not want them in this pocket. And one thing I do want to do that I've been meaning to do is to show you the difference between these two charts. Now, you're going to notice there's two charts that you probably often see on weather channels. One is this one, and one is this one. This one shows cloud cover, and it's more of a black and white type of chart. This one's more color-coded, more simple, right to the point. X marks the spot. This is the direction of the storm. X marks the spot, direction of storm. This one here is meant for a 2-day coverage. So this map shows you what they expect to happen within 48 hours. And you can notice right away, 0, X, 0. This is the second invest. This is the first invest, or first area that they're concerned about, second area they're concerned about. And you notice both have zeros on them. That is only because they don't expect them to form in the next 48 hours. Now, when you go to the 5-day chart, they know that these things will form in the next 5 days. Maybe not so much this one. This one, again, is going to be one of those little East Coast skimmers that's going to, maybe hit the Outer Banks a little bit. Rain, stormy, a little bit of waves, this and that. Or who knows, weather may take over and we may see a little bit of rotation in this, but I really, really just don't think so. And the reason for that is because of what I've been looking at with this one. Now, I just want to read a little bit of this to you. A broad low-pressure system is producing a large area of cloudiness and shower activity several hundred miles west-southwest of Cabo. The Verde Islands, that's where these storms come down, and boom, they just hook this way. They follow that warm water path, and it looks as of right now that the high pressure in the Bermuda Atlantic might allow this thing to either come up or just clip the top of those leeward islands. And we're going to watch it in real time on Ventu Sky. We went through this chart so we can get that one out of the way so we don't confuse ourselves. As of right now, we still have Hurricane Eric. It has weakened down to gusts of about 120 kilometers. We expected this as it approached Hawaii. It's going to break up, not cause as much of an issue as we once thought. The Flossie storm actually may not perform as we initially expected. Sorry, you know me and my words. I'm not going to go back and fix them. You guys know what I'm saying. So what I want you to focus on here as far as the people for the Hawaii, because I can't leave them out of this. Just because we are not seeing Flossie develop on a quick basis like we were expected to, you got to pay attention to these letters here. S means storm, tropical storm, through Thursday, 8 p.m. Now, come Friday, this thing could be turning into a hurricane, and we got to understand the path is going directly at the Big Island. The only hope that I have right now is that the H here, this is the cone of uncertainty, and this is the big cone of uncertainty. This goes outside of that 5-day mark. They still predict it to be a hurricane when it's a couple hundred miles off the coast of the Big Island. But then again, it drops down to a tropical storm as it's approaching the island. And this has been a trend lately. We've seen major hurricanes heading towards Hawaii, and then as they get there, they start breaking down. We have not really had a super significant landfall hurricane on Hawaii in a long time. We've had some of these top islands get hit with some of the skim off of bigger hurricanes and stuff like that, but as far as a direct hit goes, it's been a while. But with these storms that we've been seeing as far as Eric and Flossie just beelining towards Hawaii, it might not be over for that. But before I get too far out of topic here, we need to pay attention to this storm. This storm, in my opinion, will be Chantal. This will not be Chantal. This will not be a named storm. This may, at most, be a tropical or a post-tropical situation. I don't see this becoming tropical. It is a tropical wave, but it's going to bring rain, like I said, everything that comes with a southern or mid-southern Caribbean flow of moisture. It's going to be warm. It's going to be wet. It's just not going to be a hurricane, in my opinion. That could change. I'll smash eggs on my face on camera right in front of you guys, but this is what we need to watch. And I'm going to go to Ventu Sky right now, and I'm going to show you why. Because that 10% that you see up here doesn't even make a mark on this map, but the Chantal hurricane, which I'm already calling Chantal, it's going to be named. The thing will take up the letter C, whether it becomes a major hurricane or not. It doesn't matter. It will be letter C, and I'm just going based on what I've seen in the past. So I want you to follow me here because we are looking 6, 7, 8 days into the future. A lot can change, but with the atmospheric conditions going on right now, there is no changes going on. So there's nothing to stop this from happening the way that it's showing that's going to happen. But then again, it is weather and things can change. So once again, do not take that as me guaranteeing you that we are going to see a major hurricane. I'm warning you that the possibility is there and to understand that it is smarter to prepare than to not prepare as far as material objects, what you would want to bring with you, kids, pets, so on and so forth. Anyway, what I want you to pay attention to is what we're not going to see and what we are going to see. What we're not going to see is anything form in this area. If anything, it's going to be rain. It's going to be what I just said, the coastal erosion, maybe a little wind here and there, maybe a few bad days for the east coast of Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, and then even up to the East Coast. At this point, if it's rain, I don't care. I'm just tired of the heat, and I'm tired of the mugginess, and I'm tired of my temperature gauges melting off my window. So let's put a stop to that, and I'll be a happy camper. So anyway, Friday the 2nd, this is when we want to start paying attention. Right here. This thing is coming right down off the Cape Verde Islands, and right by this point right now, we are already at 70% Again, I'm going to say it again. By the time this video posts, we could be at 90. And then by tomorrow when I post this video, this may be 100%. It's going to be an invest. It's going to be invest, what is it? What are they going to call it? TW4, or our post potential cyclone 4. Oh, there we go. I got it. I'm telling you, my brain works. I'm beating this 5G stuff. I'm not letting it take over me. So anyway, we're at Friday the 2nd. Saturday the 3rd. Watch how quickly this develops. I'm not kidding. Here is Sunday the 4th. Monday the 5th, and here we go. Watch right here, and then watch the direction. Here is the 6th, moving towards Puerto Rico, just along the Leeward Islands there. Here is the 7th. Now, this is going to be a critical time because being this far ahead in time, we don't quite know yet. I'm sorry about that, guys. I zoomed out way too far there. Sometimes this chart has a mind of its own, and you could see here. So if I backtrack one day to the 6th, you could see how the central low pressure is at the top of the Leeward Islands right here. And then I skip one day, and it goes north and right over top of Puerto Rico. Now, that is possible, but all it takes is a high-pressure bubble for about 8 hours to push that back down underneath Puerto Rico. If that does happen, we could be dealing with a whole nother situation. This entire system could be pushed underneath to the Southern Caribbean and then become a Gulf issue. And that's just one way it could be a Gulf issue. Another way it could be is if it does make it this way as projected right now, it could make that hook and get pressure out in the Bermuda Atlantic that would keep it under Florida and then into the Gulf. But as of right now, this is what the chart is showing. This is what I'm going to go on, and this is what I'm going to warn you guys about. Look how quickly in one day from the 7th to the 8th it went from right over Puerto Rico. Now we're pushing into the Bahamas. That's how quickly this storm is moving. And if I can get this thing to hold still for 2 seconds, I can show you guys some wind speeds here. This is ground level right now, 10 meters off the ground, 30 feet. This is where most people live. We are already at 90 miles per hour. So we're looking at a strong Cat 2 by the 9th. This is where things get serious if this stays as is. This is how close we're going to be to Florida with this major hurricane, major being Category 3. There are hundreds in here. It's just harder when you're not zoomed in as far. But there were certainly 100-mile-an-hour winds. There's 92. We'll find it. It's in there. The closer you get to the core, and then there's one area that's very, very strong. There's 96. It's right in here where I caught that 100-mile-per-hour wind, and then the next day there was a 122-mile-an-hour wind. So you can see how this kind of branches off from the coast of Florida, but then again, we are dealing with a storm that is 9 days off, so there are many options for this hurricane or potential hurricane to affect us. But my opinion, based on the fact that we have already a 70% chance of this, is that one of three things is going to happen. This hurricane is going to come either through the Leeward Islands and dip underneath Puerto Rico if the pressure is right in the Bermuda Atlantic. Right now it's showing it going over Puerto Rico and then heading more towards the Bahamas, not really doing much to Haiti or Santo Domingo, possibly even missing Puerto Rico, which would be a great thing. The last thing they need is a hurricane. But then this thing kind of beelines right for the Bahamas and then the east side of Florida and then that little pocket where we have Georgia, South Carolina, and then the beginning of the Outer Banks of North Carolina, Chesapeake Bay, you name it. So that's one possibility. Second possibility, it goes underneath Puerto Rico, gets stuck in the Southern Caribbean, and then kind of wades its way in the water here. Anything can happen here. It might get shot through the gap. It might get affected by Puerto Rico or Cancun here. We just don't know. But there's three main options here, and that's going to be south. That's going to be the track it takes, or it's going to just barrel into every single thing you see here and hopefully not be as big a hurricane as we're expecting this to be. This could be our first major hurricane that could threaten land. I know I was corrected on that Category 4 I mentioned yesterday being the second, not the first Category 4. So you guys were correct on that, and that's why I love you guys. So with that said, man, we have a pretty serious situation on our hands here, and they're basically bypassing that 10% warning here. I can go back to the chart here. This thing is going to be nothing but rain and just a pain in the butt for some people. This is what we need to watch out for, because this is quickly every 8 hours jumping up 10% in strength and in the direction it's going. So the arrow's pointing this way. Hopefully we get something that pushes it down, because then we have more options of it maybe deteriorating. We could get it more time for a trade wind or a crosswind to come and break it up. But as of right now, I don't see that happening. The Pacific side is where the winds are going to help these storms. Here's Flossie right here. Eric is way off screen already by Hawaii. But then check this out, guys. We have another disturbance in the Pacific already at 50% chance. So it's going to be a conveyor belt. It is peak hurricane season through August and September. That is 8 solid weeks of potential storms. We've seen it before. We saw it in 2017. Within a 10-week period, we had 10 named storms. I believe 4 or 5 of them were major hurricanes, Category 5s. Some of them broke records. Many of them broke records. And now we're right in that pocket, right in that time where we really need to start paying attention. Everyone thinks that because the first couple of months of hurricane season is weak, that we are not going to have a strong season. You got to get that out of your head, because that is just so far from the truth. But if it is a weak season, I'll be the first to tell you about it. So either way, you guys win. So with that said, I think I've talked enough. Let's take a look at Tropical Tidbits and look at what they got. 959 pressure, guys. That is a Category 3 storm. If this thing stays true, again, even Tropical Tidbits, look, I'll show you again. Right, if we go to current time, they're expecting a 10% chance of cyclone formation over here over the next 5 days. July 31st, wait till you see the date of the 5th. I'm going to go slow. Right there is their 10% chance. So, like I said, this is probably going to be nothing, and we're at the 4th. So that's your 5-day 10% chance. But down here is our 70% chance of cyclone formation that we really need to watch out for. And by the time we get into day 7, 8, and 9, boom, we are looking at a significant... Wow, I didn't even mean to go that far, but that thing looks like a monster. It is off land. Yes, that's a good thing because of the high pressure here in the Gulf and another high pressure that is in the central U.S. that is not highlighted by an H. So if those stay there, that should keep it away from land. But the high pressure in the Bermuda Atlantic is a much stronger pressure, and it will force it to the east coast of the United States. So we have a lot to look out for, guys. Definitely not trying to scare you, but when you see numbers 959, 958, those are strong storms. We're in the peak season of hurricane season, and this is what happens. So it is time to be on our toes. It is time to start getting the cobwebs off our brain as far as what we need to look out for, what we need to plan for our pets and our animals and our families and where we live, and have a plan, have a route, anything, something simple. Anything simple could be a life changer. All right, I'm done talking. I think I've made my point about 7 times now. But guys, you are wonderful. You're the best group of subs. I appreciate every bit of help. Even since last night, we've had massive help from you guys, and I just can't thank you enough. You guys know who you are. I thank you personally, whether it be on Patreon or I email you on PayPal. So you guys have been nothing but great to us, and as long as we are here and able to do this, it'll be nonstop, and it's only gonna get better from here. We got a lot of cool gear coming in, and we're gonna start getting out there and film stuff for you rather than just looking at these charts. So with that said, guys, I hope you have a great evening. We will talk tomorrow. Back to normal schedule. That is my phone going off. I got a new buddy, Brian Dorr, on Instagram, who lives in an area of Florida I used to live in, who's been sending me some crazy lightning shots from Clearwater Beach, Florida, that's near Weeki Wachee on the Gulf Coast of Florida. So go give him a shout out. In fact, Let's blow him up right now. We got his handle is at Brian, BRIAN underscore door, DOOR underscore. So go give him a shout out. Tell him thank you for supporting the channel and helping out. And he's got some great shots, so I'm sure he's nice enough to show you guys if you're interested. With that said, Caroline, my love, I love you. I will see you soon. And guys, have a great night. We'll talk soon about this upcoming situation. Thank you.